Most of you will also agree with me that Johnny has in fact been a victim of not only domestic abuse, but also of media prejudice, as we've seen repeatedly with many different venues. This is something that we've seen repeatedly in many different outlets as well. You would not believe how fully the case was discussed in the news article that has just come out, which has brought the subject back into the spotlight once more. But stay tuned and we'll demonstrate in detail what was found to be the case. Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today, we'll be looking at how the new Australian interview ruined Amber Heard's foundation for an appeal. Yeah, you heard it right. So, let's start our video. At this point, it appears that the heat of the Depp and Heard trial is only being felt in the United States. But here's a spoiler, it's genuinely being discussed in a number of countries all over the world. In some situations, the dialogue is less balanced than in others. This is demonstrated by the fact that the television news program 60 Minutes Australia devoted an entire segment to the topic of the relationship between the exes. But it's not precisely what you fake, which is why there's now a large discourse about it online and why they got called out by the Vault of Truth. Both of these things are a result of the fact that it is not exactly what you fake. So, the issue about the 60 Minutes Australia program is that in their coverage of what has happened in the legal struggle between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, they were utterly biased against the actor. This was the case in the reporting on what had transpired in the case, and it was to the point where you could see from a mile away that they were completely against him because it was that horrible. But we may credit the Vault of Truth for exposing their lies and busting them. You have just seen that the program was carried out in such a way that it made them turn the entire trial into a comedy. This was done for the exact reason that they stated that Johnny basically wanted to get back into the limelight and that this was the only way for him to achieve it. Johnny's one and only motivation, which he has made clear from the beginning of this ordeal, is to regain control of his life completely. However, just like all of their prior accusations against the actor, these latest allegations are also false. This is due to the fact that very soon following the publication of Amber's opinion post, the actor in question was terminated from his position in a Disney film. To suggest that the only reason he was in court was that he wanted to be in the press is not very well supported by the evidence. Even after the conclusion of the lawsuit, the actor has continued to be included in news stories for all of the most positive reasons. In spite of this, the show had a great deal more to discuss concerning Johnny, namely with the opinion article that was brought up once more at a later stage. According to the person who presents the show, they believe that Depp took it personally, which suggests that the post might not have been about the actor who plays Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean, but it is consistent with all of their other assertions. That too was a complete and utter fabrication, and I'll explain why in a moment. If you followed the lead practically when it was being carried out, you most likely heard the ACLU mentioned a couple of times. That is because they actively ensured that the harmful opinion piece was published and distributed to the public. In addition to this, someone who worked for the company has confirmed that there was a previous edition of the op-ed. All of these things just serve to show how much of a one-sided perspective the media had taken to portray Amber as the victim when in reality she was the one who was the dominant force in their marriage. And considering that people all across the world have been talking about this topic for quite some time now, the internet has been commenting on the situation and expressing opinions. The PR attacks against Johnny Depp have been foolish, especially since we saw her falsehoods in color. One user commented who seemed to be weary of all the media outlets going against Johnny. There are no positive characteristics that can be highlighted about Amber Heard. We attended the trial and listened to the testimony. The actor Johnny Depp won. Another user with a similar point of view wrote, "I think it's interesting that their strategy is geared towards two things. 1. Continue to attempt to discredit Johnny Depp with false narratives, and 2. Suggest a surge of grassroots and blue tech support based on the idea of Amber Heard as a victim and activist. Absolutely nothing about her film career." Well, exactly as the user has indicated, regardless of what the media says, the fact remains that Johnny won the case fair and square. And this is the exact same reason why her appeal will also fail. Because, let's be honest, the reality is that the truth has already been spread throughout the world, and we're all aware of this fact. According to one of Amber Heard's lawyers, the post-trial interview she gave to Savannah Guthrie of NBC, who was covering the case for NBC, hurts her prospects of winning an appeal of the judge's decision in the widely publicized defamation lawsuit that she brought against Johnny Depp. The Aquaman actor's lawyer, Elaine Charleston-Bredehoff, previously said on the Today Show that Heard will absolutely appeal the Pirates of the Caribbean star's win, as she has some excellent grounds for it. Now, a lawyer, Brett Turnbull of Turnbull, Holcomb & Lemoine, in an interview with Newsweek said Amber Heard is allowed to say anything that she wants in her interview without an impact on appeal. But if she does get a new trial post-appeal, she continues to potentially damage her odds of success in a later trial by admitting certain things or making certain comments in the public domain, Turnbull added. Amber Heard was unsuccessful in her attempt to sue Johnny Depp for defamation, and the jury ultimately sided with Depp and awarded him $10.35 million in damages. A spokesperson for Depp told NBC News, "It's unfortunate that while Johnny is looking to move forward with his life, the defendant and her team are back to repeating, reimagining, and relitigating matters that have already been decided by the court and a verdict that was unanimously and unequivocally decided by a jury in Johnny's favor." In a statement obtained by The Hollywood Reporter, a spokesperson for Heard said in response, "If Mr. Depp or his team have a serious problem with this, we recommend that Johnny himself sit down with Savannah Guthrie for an hour and answer all her questions." During the segments of the interview that were previously broadcast on the Today Show, Heard discussed the psychological impact of the verdict, in which a jury in Virginia found in favor of Depp and awarded him a $10.35 million in the action that he filed against Heard. And while she strongly stood by her testimony, she also added that she didn't blame the jury for not believing her charges of abuse, given the fandom that surrounded the trial. She said this despite the fact that she stood by her testimony. "Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation," she said. On June 1st, a jury in Virginia ruled in favor of Depp on all three of his claims that he was defamed when Heard published an opinion piece in the Washington Post in which she called herself a survivor of domestic abuse. In the piece, Heard claimed that she had been the victim of domestic abuse in the past. He was also largely vindicated of charges that he defamed Heard by calling her accusations a fraud. One of Heard's three claims, which said that a statement made by Depp's attorney was defamatory, was successful. And that's all for today's video. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section down below. I hope that you found this video interesting, and if you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. See you in the following video with some more of the latest updates, and until then, stay tuned.